Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are here, Selfless Little Gaming. All right, we're back. Episode on number 10 right now. Took last week off. My boy was out getting them rays, chasing them honeys around the cruise boat, drinking, eating, enjoying life. How was your cruise?
It went pretty well, man. I would say it's probably even though it was the shortest one I've been on. It was definitely a lot of fun. Got to miss all the food, all the free food everywhere, all the time. Ate a lot, so that was a good time. Got to travel a couple places, get a couple drinks. Well, more than a couple. I think I drank enough for November. Honestly, I don't think for the rest of the month. But it was great, man. We had a great trip. It was a lot of fun. Got to watch some sports over there as well. What they had available in some of the games, so it was a good time. It was a good time.
Nice. Emily, how are you doing today? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for popping in. So today we're going to be talking about college football. We are on week 2 of the college football rankings right now. Week 1 had a lot of people upset, especially Cincinnati fans. What up, motherfucker? But week 2 has changed. We've had some teams that are in the top 4 actually lose and drop down, which has also created some controversy that we'll talk about as well. But yeah, so we are going to discuss some college football today. We're going to talk about the NFL as usual, get into our fantasy football breakdowns, and then games of the week as well. Okay. Well, Jacob, go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you at.
Hey guys, so Jacob, little with the 3 at the end instead of an E. You can find me on TikTok, Twitter, of course Twitch, and also Facebook. If you're into Facebook, you use Facebook. They have a Facebook page. Also YouTube. I'm actually starting to build up the YouTube page as well. Make some gaming clips and some other stuff on there. So be on the lookout for that. If you can give me a follow or subscribe, I should say. It's free. That's the best part. So yeah, you can definitely find me on those platforms on the regular.
It's free. That is very true. And then for those of you that don't know me, I am Selfless Gaming. On Twitch, obviously, but you can find me on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube as well. You can follow those. I try to do as much as I can on all of them. Try to be as active as possible. I'd say on most active platforms are Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube for sure. So, Bearded Warrior, by the way, thank you for that sound alert, bro. Hope you are here and hope you are doing well, my man. On his stream this morning, he had a hell of a game in COD. He was absolutely mowing people down.
Dang.
Glad you're here. Get into college football. All right. So week 1 rankings came out, and pretty much Cincinnati had worked their way up into, let's see here, I believe they got themselves up to number 2 was the highest they were at one point. Let me check. Yes. I think it was week 8 or week 9. Yes, week 8, they actually were ranked number 2 in the nation. And then week number 10 comes around, which they do every year. They start posting in November, college football playoff breakdown. And that sent everything into kind of a whirlwind. Georgia has been extremely dominant all year. Their defense is ridiculously good. Yeah. Alabama has kind of struggled against teams. They had a loss against Texas A&M. They haven't looked like the traditional Alabama, but they are getting better each week. Every Nick Saban team is going to get better and better. Then you had Michigan State come in at number 3, which has been one of the teams of the year. They had Kenneth Walker III transfer, and you had Mel Tucker, who took over at Michigan State last year, had a very rough first year, and then this year they have just exploded on the scene. Kenneth Walker III, in my opinion, the dude is got to be a front runner for the Heisman. If he's not, something's wrong. Then you had the controversy of Oregon at number 4 and Ohio State at 5. But then what a lot of people were kind of either supporting or arguing against was Cincinnati dropping to 6. A lot of people said, hey, they're a group of 5 school. They're not a Power 5 school. So the difference, if you don't know, is you have your major colleges like Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Texas, like all those schools. Those are considered Power Five. There's 5 major conferences around the country.
Yeah.
Then you have other conferences that are little smaller schools that are known as Group of Five. And Cincinnati falls into that Group of Five category. So, with that, they were actually the first ever Group of Five school since the poll era to be ranked number 2 in the nation. And basically, a lot of people said, hey, hey, why get for the ball? Appreciate that. But a lot of schools and people like within the college football realm said, Cincinnati came out and they did what they were supposed to do. They scheduled Power Five schools. They strengthened their schedule. They went out and wanted to face these bigger teams. They beat those teams. They're undefeated. And now what like the college football committee's always said that these schools have to do, they actually went out and did it. And now they're still not being rewarded for what they did.
Mm.
So that's been a lot of back and forth on it. Their past 2 games, they've struggled though, and they should not have really struggled to these opponents that they faced. This past week, they had like literally a 4th and goal, and they had to get the stop to secure their win, and they did. It was kind of a crazy. I like saw what was going on my phone, and I stopped what I was doing and just tuned into it because if their season was going to end right there, or they were going to escape and move on to another week. So, what do you think about the rankings though so far, old Jacob? Like, what are your thoughts on these?
Yeah, with the rankings, I mean, like you're saying, some of these teams that are playing on here, I mean, we do got some really good teams that are going to be playing this year. As far as for in the playoffs, you look at championship implications. I am curious that Alabama. What I was going to ask you is that just based on kind of how they struggled, I know they've only lost 1 game and they haven't played as well. Do you feel like they're number 2? They should be ranked number 2. Do you feel like there's another team that deserves that spot? Because I kind of feel like if you're not like how we kind of talked about, it's also based on your performance, the kind of teams you play, and how well or bad you play.
This is where we hold them. This is where we fight. This is where they die. And these fields fight.
The Bulldogs, Alabama, Ducks, Buckeyes, Cincinnati, and I kind of feel like definitely it's most likely that the Bucks or the Ducks deserve that.
For the Ducks.
Yeah, especially with the win streak that the Buckeyes are on. They've won like 7 games in a row.
Yeah, their only loss is to Oregon.
Yeah, so and that's a fair loss. I mean, that's a good team that they lost to. So yeah, I'm not too sure if I agree with the order of that top 5 in that particular area. I don't know that Alabama should be number 2. I don't know if you feel like a different team should be number 2. I'm pretty sure it's Ohio State though.
So first, before I get on this like little tangent I'm about to go on, it's like talking about college football all day. Kawhi Kitten, thank you so much for that raid. I greatly appreciate it. Gemini, Nikki, thank you all for being in here. We're talking some sports. This is like our weekly podcast that myself and little Jacob do. So I greatly appreciate y'all being here. And then like once we're done with this, we'll get into some more of like the stream stuff. But to your question, one of my biggest issues is there's always the debate of, it's not even really a debate. People say, oh, the SEC is the best conference in college football.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at it from the standpoint of national championships that have been won since I think like 2004 or 5, yes, they have the most. They have like 11. Okay. But the college football committee is supposed to take all this stuff and it's supposed to be a year-to-year basis. And in my opinion, the SEC every year is always inflated with their rankings. I understand that like preseason comes out, they sit there and they do their like normal rankings and everything. They usually have 5-6 teams ranked, but right now they have Arkansas at 25, who's 6-3. Arkansas started off the year hot. They are not a good football team. Like I don't think they should be top 25. Then you have Auburn, who's lost, I think, out of their last 5 games, they've lost like 3 of them.
Yeah.
They're 6-3 and they're sitting at 17. Then you have Ole Miss who's 7-2 and they're only at 15. And I don't understand how they're not higher because their one loss is to Alabama, who's ranked second in the country. Texas A&M is 7-2, sitting at 11, and then you got basically Bama and Georgia. Georgia's like legit. We've already established that.
Yeah,
my,
definitely.
My only thing is with it is if you look at Georgia, the SEC East is a joke. Like Kentucky was the only ranked team in the SEC East, and they beat the brakes off them. Georgia's the only team ranked in the East. You have 3 other teams that are ranked in the West. I just don't think the SEC is as good as a conference as people make it out to be this year. Okay, I think there's a lot of teams that are overhyped, personally, but then you also got to look at the reflection of the whole entire college football landscape, and there's not a ton of teams or conferences that are doing very well. If you look at Oregon, Oregon is ranked number 3 for the Pac-12. The next team that's ranked out of the Pac-12 is Utah, and their record is 6-3, and they're at 24. Like that's the only other ranked team out of that whole entire conference. You look at the Big Ten. The Big Ten has Ohio State at 4. They got Michigan at 6, Michigan State at 7. They got 3 teams in the top 10. Then outside the top 10, you have Wisconsin, Purdue, Iowa, all within the top 25. They have the most teams in the top 25 right now. And I'll just say this, like, I'm okay with Bama being number 2 right now.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at Ohio State's schedule, if Ohio State wins out the rest of the year, they're facing number 19 Purdue this week. Next week, they're facing number 7 Michigan State, if that stands. And then for the 3rd week in a row, they're facing number 6 Michigan, if that stands. And let's say Georgia wins out and Ohio State wins out and they win their Big Ten conference, they got to be number 2 with like those credentials. The other issue I kind of have with rankings is I understand why Oregon is put in front of Ohio State because they beat Ohio State at home. But I understand you're looking at head-to-heads, but if you're actually comparing like strength of schedule, teams that have been played, Ohio State lost to the number 3 team in the country, who at the time was ranked in the top 10 when they lost. Oregon has lost to Stanford. That is their one loss. They lost to Stanford, and Stanford's record is 3-2, and they're 2-1 in the conference when they lost to them. Stanford's record now is currently 3-6.
Oof.
They lost to the last place team in their conference. So why Ohio State isn't in front of them? I don't understand that.
Yeah.
But that's also why I like college football, like the breakdowns, the rankings, and everything that goes on with it, because every week it changes. You never know what the committee's going to do. Sometimes I like the fact that it's people getting in a room talking like we are and discussing like what they're seeing. But then I also feel like sometimes too people can't like put their bias to the side.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so thank you. I agree with that. See, somebody agrees with me, bro.
Yes, sir.
But that's why I like it, because you never know what's going to happen at the end of the year. I think it was 2 years ago. Ohio State lost 1 game. They were a Big Ten champion. A lot of people always said, like, if you're a conference champion, you had a good year, even with 1 loss, you'll probably still get in the playoffs. And they were the first team to not get in the playoffs. And, like, the game day committee was just, like, blown away. They're like, how the hell did they not get put in the playoffs?
Yeah.
You know, like, they had 1 loss, but you just never know what they're going to do sometimes, man. But, like, I don't know. What do you feel about, like, with Alabama, Oregon, Cincinnati, some of those teams, like I know you say you don't really feel like Alabama should be number 2. Like what is it about them that is not selling you on them being number 2?
I just feel like the performances that they've put on, and some of the games they have won, it's kind of like more borderline than it is them like overperforming. I feel like if you're gonna be in the top 3 ranking, you're playing your games and you're performing. You're not just performing at expectations, but you're performing above expectations on a regular basis. And I don't feel like Alabama has done that as consistently as the other 2 teams that are below them, like Oregon and the Buckeyes. But
I agree with that.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's all gonna come. It's all gonna come to light when it comes to the playoff time. When it starts to becoming, win or go home, you're gonna really see what the teams are made of. Any one of those teams that are on the top of that list can take it all. I mean, that's why they're there. They're really great teams, for sure. So, and then like we're talking about, Nick Saban is just the greatest college coach ever. So, I wouldn't doubt that by the time he gets to that point of the postseason, that he'll have Alabama playing like a number 2 team, or maybe even number 1. But I kind of felt like maybe they didn't exactly deserve to be ranked number 2 at the time, or now, I would say.
And I agree with that because they were sitting at, I think, like 6 or 7, and they lost to Texas A&M, and it's just like, to me, I don't understand how you go from 6 or 7 to then when the playoff committee comes out, all of a sudden it's like, boom, you're all the way up to number 2.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a second, like
it kind of seems like a playing favorite.
Yeah, and that's where I was getting at with that bias. It's kind of like, one person said, we know where Nick Saban's team will be at the end of the year. I mean, that's great, but like that's not right now,
Yeah.
Like you're just going ahead and putting them up there just to put them up there. So
yeah. But
One Destructor, what is up?
Big shout out though to the local football team, the UTSA Roadrunners.
Dude, they're awesome.
Yeah, they're playing great. I mean, these young kids, they're really making the city proud. They're doing great. They cracked the top 25. I mean, they're finally Division I football, and they're putting on a show. Coach Jeff Taylor over there has really got those guys together in a good culture going down here in San Antonio. So big shout outs to them. It'd be nice to see them play in some kind of bowl game and get some kind of reward for all their hard work, because they're just playing great.
Dude, they're fun to watch.
The bigger teams just yet, but I mean, they got to show that they can roll with the punches now in Division I, and they have so far. So look forward to seeing progression. I'm really glad how our local football team is doing. It's an exciting time for them down here in University of Texas, San Antonio. So really good stuff, Roadrunners. Good job, guys.
Yeah, they're fun to watch, man. They're a really talented team, well coached team is the biggest thing. Like they're very disciplined. And then for you all that are new in here, One Destructor, we're doing our weekly like podcast and everything. John Cena just showed up, boys. He's in the podcast. Let's go. But they like we do our weekly podcast. We talk about fantasy football. We talk about basketball. We're talking about college football right now. So it's something me and little Jacob do. For all of you that are also new in here too, little Jacob down here of your bottom left of your screen, his name. Throw him a follow on Twitch. You guys will definitely not be disappointed. But yeah, man, like with the, let's see here. I don't know. I think like I'm really interested in the Big Ten for sure.
Yeah,
because the next 3 weeks are going to be crazy. Like any one of those teams that win. So basically, like with Michigan State, Michigan, and Ohio State. If Ohio State wins out, they're going to the Big Ten championship. If Michigan wins out, they're going to the Big Ten championship. Same thing with Michigan State. So it's like
it's really crucial time.
It is crazy. And to be honest, I don't remember the last time that the dude, y'all are nuts right now. Y'all are insane. 7th, bro. Calm down, man.
What up, 7th?
Damn. Got a hype train going in here and everything.
This is the college football, man. You take a look at the rankings and you take a look at the records. 9-0, 8-1, 8-1, 8-1, 9-0, 8-1. And you think, man, we've won darn near the whole season altogether. How much more do you really need to do? And it's like now you definitely need to win more games than what you've already won, because all these records are so close. the rankings and playoffs, it's just a crazy time because now it's kind of like a make or break time. It's almost like its own playoffs in the sense that one loss could completely just derail your odds
Yeah.
of getting to the bowl game that you want to get to, or in the playoffs in general. There's a lot of really good football teams right now that are competing to get a premier spot.
Well, and it's the thing I like about it too is, by the way, I just want to freaking say I love you all so much because you guys are ridiculous right now. We love our Selfless gaming. I love you guys. I'm so happy y'all are here. I mean, first off, like you get me, okay, and I appreciate y'all. But I had the luxury of sitting next to this sexy ass man right here. So, I mean, it's a win-win for everybody. But the one thing that, like, I love it that they've like changed the playoff system and everything.
Yeah.
At the same time, too, they look at like, oh well, how is the team actually playing? Are they like barely skating by with these wins? Are they actually like destroying teams? Like there's style points that go into this, and it's just I don't know. This is when like first half of the college football season, I'm just chilling, and then usually the last like month, I'm like, oh shit, what is going to happen with this? Like, where are we going to end up at?
Yeah, it's the little details that really start to matter at the end of the college football season. The little details, how good teams are playing, like you said. Are they just skating by, or are they really, consistently taking it to the other team and overachieving? I mean, those are the teams that are going to, get those highest rankings in the best position to win it all, really.
Yeah.
College football championship.
So let's mix it over to the NFL. Nikki Tatsuya, Nikki. No, she was in here. I don't know if she's still in here or not. But what do you think about the Aaron Rodgers situation?
Oh, dude, it's just
like the timing of this. I kind of feel like is very unique.
Yeah.
In that sense, because it's like we're what week is this in the NFL now?
I'll tell you what's crazy about it. I'll tell you one thing that's
we're on week 10, and this is now just circled that we're over halfway through the season. It's just now come to light.
Here's what kind of blows my mind that someone else like helped me realize on Twitter. So not too long ago, CeeDee Lamb got fined because he didn't have his jersey tucked in to his pants during the game.
That's so
he
stupid.
Got fined like $14,000, which I mean he's getting millions of dollars, right? That's so what? It's a little hiccup. He's not gonna feel that. But what's funny is that they fined him like $14,000 for that. Aaron Rodgers only got fined like 13, 12, like maybe 13,000, something around there for for COVID violations and protocol violations, which is like a way more serious issue than someone not tucking in their freaking jersey into their pads.
Well, we talked about that like last episode, man. Like you have Deshaun Watson. Like every situation is different. First off, but like it just depends on who it is. And like Deshaun Watson, the guy's got FBI investigating him and all this stuff, and he's still getting paid. He can play whenever they want to put him in. But like you get other players who have allegations against him and stuff, and they get suspended for 6 games when there's no proof. Like that. Have you seen the thing about Dalvin Cook this morning?
Oh yeah, that's crazy. That's pretty insane, and I'm glad that's something that they kind of like the lawyer, his attorneys kind of nipped in the bud real quick and said, hey, he's actually a domestic violence victim here, rather than how it can come out, which is her making the claim that he was the one that's abusing her. And because once that happens, right, then you go into the situation of looking at potential suspension, or just not being able to play. It's just a lot of crazy just drama just happening in the NFL right now, from Aaron Rodgers lying about being vaccinated to Dalvin Cook having a domestic violence and abuse that's he's having to go through, and being basically held for ransom for his money. From someone else that he clearly doesn't want to have any kind of relationship with, and they want one with him. It's just nuts right now, and it's at a very pivotal time in the NFL season. It's the middle of the year.
Yes.
It's kind of like college. We're starting to get towards the implications for playoffs, for the teams that are going to be in the postseason. It's nuts. But I think if anything, the biggest, craziest part is definitely going to be the Aaron Rodgers situation. I mean, I don't get how you can lie about something like that, and then like of course he's upset because he got called out on it already. if anything, he should have just did what most players do. Ask you a question you don't want to answer. I have no comment. Rather than say, yeah, I was vaccinated, and then it was weird because I was reading an article that said the NFL considered him non-vaccinated, but he was receiving alternate treatment for COVID in the preseason. And I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah, but what is that?
What is alternate treatment? I wasn't aware. I don't think anyone here is aware that there's an alternate treatment for COVID, outside of a vaccine. So I don't know. It's just a really fishy situation. And I think that there's more to it than anybody knows.
Yeah, possibly.
Even it said after the incident too, like he was spotted at a Halloween party, not wearing a mask, just living it up. I mean, I don't know. It kind of just seems like he's being really belligerent of the rules. And because he's Aaron Rodgers, he's getting away with it. But he also tested positive for COVID, which is why he didn't even play. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if you ask me, it should be looking at another potential suspension for another game or two. But who knows? I have no idea what they're doing in that situation, because at this point, they're putting the team at risk, not just like for play wise and for game wise. They're talking about health wise, putting people at risk. I mean, the NFL's already been fined. I mean, the NFL's already fined that team like $300,000, the Packers, for violating COVID protocols. It's nuts right now.
So I reached out to Tatsuya, and what's up, D's nuts? That's my girl, D's nuts. So Tatsuya is a big Packers fan. Okay, he's probably not going to give you a follow now after everything you just said. But I reached out to her in her Discord and I said, "Hey, like, what do you think about the Aaron Rodgers situation?" And Tatsuya, if I like misquote this, correct me. But she basically kind of summed it up with like, it's your overall health, and she doesn't necessarily like agree with, like, I guess the policies in place of the NFL, which I don't necessarily agree with either.
Dang.
And it is up to the individual. The way I kind of feel on it is like, I don't think he should have said what he said when it got brought up, like, hey, are you vaccinated, all this stuff, because he kind of did lead people to believe, like, yeah, he took care of all that. At the end of the day, though, there's so many protocols and testing in place that if he was to test positive, then he's going to be removed, from the facility, the team, everything, till he has negative testing. Yeah. But it's one of those things to me, like, we already do so many precautionary things. Why does it necessarily have to matter if someone's vaccinated or not? Like, if it's their choice. I don't know if anything's changed with Kyrie Irving or not, but he still has not like gotten vaccinated, and he's taken his stance on it because he sees it a certain way. He has a viewpoint on it. I respect that viewpoint. So I just don't know. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's hard to judge too with the media, like what they're actually putting out there, what they're spinning. But
yeah, and it's hard to like. I'm all for defending someone's own personal right to take care of themselves how they think they should, but it's just that at this point, with the way that things are going, they're decisions that aren't just affecting an individual. They're decisions that are affecting an organization, multiple people on different levels. So it's just really tough. I just think that Aaron could have handled the whole thing better. The Packers could have handled the whole situation better. Now, to say exactly what they could have did, I'm not sure, because, like I said, there's so many protocols. I mean, I promise you, regardless if you're vaccinated or not, they're sticking a swab in your nose every time you go into an NFL facility. You go to practice, you're going to train and work out, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. Like, they do so much all the time, every day. And there's some things that just can't be prevented sometimes, and that's understandable. But yeah, I don't think that the way that Jordan Love's performance was the other day either helps anything much.
Yeah, that was rough.
That was pretty rough to watch.
That's kind of the cherry on top after everything that went on, and then he went out there. But LaFleur, I think it's how you say his name, like Matt LaFleur said, he's like, that was 100% on him. Like, they got kind of caught up in the whole thing of where is Rodgers going to be, like, what is his availability, blah, blah. Then it's like, when all that stuff came about, they should have just like took note of it, moved on. All right, bro, you're starting now. Let's get you prepped to go, everything. And he kind of admitted that he wasn't ready.
it's harder to replace a quarterback on the
Yes.
fly. Like it's like with Dallas, we've had a couple players go on the COVID list, like Keon Neal and a couple of players. Those are linebackers. Those are kind of more. I don't want to say like they're not as valuable, but they're kind of more gadget players. You have a few more of those guys on your team, on your roster for reasons like that and injuries that you can just swap in. Quarterbacks, especially a guy like Aaron Rodgers, you don't just you're not that fortunate, or it's not that easy to just say, all right, we're gonna swap them out. It'll be okay 1 week.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work like that. Especially with the player of his magnitude, it's really not easy to even get a fourth of his talent out there as a replacement. So
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy.
Let's see. So Rage is like, man, I can't stand the shot thing. Let people choose. Yeah, we both agree with that. They're more common. Quarterback, not as much. That is true.
Yeah.
It's some players you can literally just plug and play. Other ones you can't.
Yeah.
What do you think about the whole Odell Beckham situation? Have you been brought up to speed on that?
Man, yeah. I kind of been following a bit. I don't know. I can't tell if it's just like maybe his own personal attitude of team chemistry. I mean, obviously the Browns played great and won without him. I don't know if it's just him. Words like locker room cancer get thrown around, his attitude in the locker room. I mean, so far, he's kind of been described by two teams now as being a distraction. Someone, when things aren't going his way, he starts, being frustrated. And I mean, so far he could have got claimed off waivers. Nobody claimed him. He's been a free agent all day. No one's claimed him. And at this point, I don't know that anybody wants to deal with whatever it is that he's making teams deal with.
Yeah.
Unless it's like, okay, we absolutely need a receiver right now, because he hasn't exactly been able to stay healthy either. He's a great player when he's healthy, and when he's, I guess, in a good mood, right? He's a great player, but yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. It just kind of seems like he's bringing too much drama to wherever he goes, and it's causing just complete dysfunctionality and chemistry for the teams that he plays for.
I don't mean to laugh, but these nuts said in the chat, "Who's Aaron Rodgers? Guessing a quarterback in your version of Wimpy Rugby." She's from the UK. Oh my god! Yes, he is a quarterback for a team called the Green Bay Packers.
And no, he wouldn't last in rugby.
No, he would not last in rugby. Not at all. The man has risen from the dead. So
my two favorite boyos.
Yo, up,
I will be lurking while I work less than 3.
Hell yeah. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope everything's going good with you and the wife. Yeah, I think the whole Odell Beckham thing, what you're going to see, personally, I don't think you're going to see teams jump at him until they have to have a reason. They need to replace an injury, or if, say, the whole thing with Rodgers comes back and they're kind of like, hey, you want us to bring in Odell, really make a push for this? They can throw him out there. I think that's going to kind of be your scenario and everything with it. I think it's going to be teams are going to really go after him when they have to go. You know what I'm saying? And if you guys have any opinions or thoughts in the chat on that, definitely let us know. Because Odell's definitely been a head case for a couple years now, and I definitely don't think I feel like the Browns letting him go is kind of insight to some of the stuff that started coming out from there, especially from Odell's dad, when he said Baker Mayfield would purposely not throw him the ball when he was wide open, and he started posting videos and stuff of it. Yeah, it's kind of all right, man. To me, that was kind of back when I was in high school, when my mom or dad would start yelling something stupid from the stands, and I turn and shoot him a look. I'm like, shut up. I get on my parents for that. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't agree with that. It's a business matter. Keep it a business matter. What do you think about fantasy this week? Who are you looking to start? Who are you looking to sit?
All right, let me get this cat. You need to stop.
Oh, she said, bitch, put me back on your shoulder.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, as far as fantasy football goes.
Hold on. D said, okay, so my opinion is make these guys play without pad. Whoever's left over deserves to play. Okay, hold on a second, though. I don't know, like, your typical rugby player build. I know they're big guys, but I'm just going to say this. I don't see too many rugby players coming and playing in the NFL. Just going to put it out there that way. Like, how many rugby players do you know have gone and played in the NFL and done okay? Give me that statistic, then we'll talk.
I think maybe. Well, I can't only remember.
There was a kicker. Guy that used to like play rugby when I was a kicker.
Didn't Peyton Hillis used to play rugby? I think.
Maybe. What's he play though? What position is he?
He plays ass back now. He sits his ass back on the bench.
Boom!
No, I don't even think he
roasted.
I don't think that. I don't think he plays on a team anymore. He did play.
Ass back. That was great, bro.
Running back for a little bit. He was on the cover of Madden. He was on the cover of Madden for a little bit.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember that.
He did play for like a good little amount of time and was doing well. I'm not too sure if he just stopped or what happened.
Bro, that is the best roast I've ever heard you give. That is amazing. Battle, what is up, bro? Appreciate them biddies, homie. She said she'll get back to us on that. All right, go ahead with your fantasy football like lineup.
Yeah, so for the stardoms, definitely let's get right at it. If you're gonna start somebody, there's no better else than Hustle Wilson. Russell's gonna be playing against the Packers this weekend. I know that a Packers fan in the chat, you probably won't like this, but I really like seeing Russell Wilson coming in there and just lighting it up. You know how the Seattle Seahawks do out there with Metcalf. And we all know that Russell Wilson is just hurting to get back out there and win some football games. I think that'll be a really good start. Russell has at least 20 fantasy points each game. He's probably gonna try to get to more this next one. So I would not fool around with Russell Wilson. If you can start him, I would start him. Also, another person I would start if you do happen to have him sitting there, I would think that you would want to start Kirk Cousins against the Chargers. The Chargers haven't looked too good against the pass game recently. They've been getting torched a lot. Kirk Cousins, even though I think they won their last game and they actually played really well the last game. He threw a couple of bombs for touchdowns, so I'm looking at him do the same thing as the Chargers. If you're gonna sit somebody, shoot,
Peyton Hillis.
someone, I would definitely sit Baker Mayfield against the Patriots. I don't think that Baker Mayfield is gonna have the same performance like he did this past week against that Patriots defense. The Browns are all about the running the football right now, and that's gonna stick to you. So even if Mayfield does have a good game, like personally, I don't think he's gonna have a good enough fantasy one to make it worth starting. So I would definitely sit Mayfield, just in my opinion, against that defense. And also, I mean, I know Big Ben's kind of been playing all right, but yeah, I don't really see him having a good enough fantasy game against the Lions. Even though the Lions haven't won, I can't believe the Lions haven't won anything like in 2 months of football. They just lost every single.
Bro, they could win at checkers right now.
Yeah, they couldn't win tic-tac-toe right now. Yeah. It's crazy. But yeah, that's what I would start and say for quarterbacks. Man, running backs right now, it's a pretty special time. It's a pretty special time, but man, with the way that things are going right now, I would definitely like to start my guy that I have on the roster, Leonard Fournette, against the Washington. He's been playing really well. He's coming off a bye week. His legs are fresh. And he seems like he's a really key part of Tom Brady's offense. Whether it's on a screen pass, he's throwing some swing routes, he's handing off the ball, and he's had a couple of games for me alone where he's gotten a touchdown or two, including with like at least 100 all-purpose yards. So that's somebody who I definitely to start. Another good running back, Melvin Gordon from the Broncos.
He's been popping off, and he's been on my damn bench.
Yeah, and he ripped Dallas a new one on defense this past weekend. He was really running our number everywhere up and down, and I don't see him slowing down and doing anything less against the Eagles that they're going to be playing next. So Melvin Gordon, you got him, start him. You need to. Like, he's going to get those.
He's on the field this week, folks. Let's go, Gordon. He'll probably suck this week. He'll probably get like 2 points because I put him in.
I never thought I'd say this, guys. Don't get me wrong. I love the guy. He's a legend. He'll always be a legend. Like, all the moves you see in a video game that kids will see in video games and football games were based off of what this guy did in real life. So no disrespect to him, but I would not start Adrian Peterson this weekend against the Saints. just unfortunately he's just not the guy he used to be. He doesn't have the same kind of burst. He doesn't have it all glory. So don't get fooled as much as you might love. And we all love Adrian Peterson. I would not start him against the Saints. He's just not going to be that guy for the Titans. They're going to be passing the ball a lot too. Now they lost Derrick Henry and another running back.
Here's my thing with that real quick for you. How, like, look at the lack of options.
Mm-hmm.
If you're reaching out to get Adrian Peterson in on your actual like organization to backfill Derrick Henry, when you have like Devontae Freeman in the league, you have Le'Veon Bell in the league and stuff, and you could easily make a quick trade or something and get one of those guys for way less. But you're gonna bring in Adrian like Gimpy Hip Peterson. Like, come on, bro. Like, I love the guy, man. The guy's a beast, but I was very surprised when I saw his name being announced during the game. I was like, wait, what? So, yeah. That just really surprised me. There's not that many options out there right now.
Yeah, receivers. Man, if you got Chris Godwin, you should be starting him anyways. I mean, the guy's great. You know, Tom Brady's gonna make a spectacle of him every game he can. They're playing Washington. You know, that's definitely someone you want to lock in there. Tom Brady. Javaris Landry wouldn't be a bad option either to start against the Patriots. I think that's a pretty good option, especially with Odell not being there. And they do, and you know what? Not to knock on Odell, but they do look like a better team without him. And with you got Javaris Landry out there handling it. I think he's going to get a lot of the workload coming this weekend against the Patriots. So that's someone else I would start. Of course, if you got Amari Cooper, you should know to start him this weekend with Dallas against the Falcons. Falcons really don't have much of a pass defense, and I'm going to look him to bounce back. And Dak's been pretty good about bouncing back from games too when he plays the way he did the last week. And the last time he played bad like this, I looked it up. He actually threw 5 touchdowns the next game. So crossing my fingers, Cowboys fan here, that he does the same thing again, and hopefully 1 or 2 is to Coop. So definitely want to start Amari Cooper if you got him. So receivers that I would sit though, believe it or not, Adam Thielen against the Chargers. I would probably sit Thielen out on this one. The Chargers have allowed the fewest fantasy points to receivers over the last 4 weeks. So chances are you're not going to be getting what you would normally think out of Adam Thielen. You'll probably see the Vikings look to run the football more and do some more shorter pass stuff. And that's how I just feel it's going to end up working out. Definitely would not want to start him. Him and Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore on the Jets, they're going to be playing the Bills, who also lost a game that they should have won. Last week was just a crazy
it was a crazy week, man.
I mean, there were several teams that lost games or just got their noses beat into the ground by teams that shouldn't even have been able to be in their same, league as them. But that's how it is sometimes. That's professional football for you. Good teams can have a bad game against a bad team at least once or twice out of the year. And it's not always that much of a surprise. But yeah, those are just my starts and sit-ems for quarterback, receiver, and running backs. Did you have any different players or anything, or tight ends, or anything else that you want to throw?
All right, so Dee has responded with her statistics, or lack of statistics, I should say. She says, so I don't know stats, but the biggest guy who comes up signed for the 49ers, but how many NFL people have come to play rugby?
Oh, yeah, there is a 49er that played rugby. I remember. He's a big, stocky guy. I'm going to look up his name. I think.
Just saying, D. You're trying to compare apples to pineapples. That'll work. Hain. I don't know Hain. It's like a penis joke or something. What is his name?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking up right now.
I don't really pay attention to football anymore. What?
Oh, well, that's probably not the best way to look.
Nicky, how do you not pay attention to football? You're a Packers fan.
Ex-rugby player.
Jared Hain. What you said, Jared Hain.
Oh, yeah, let's not talk about Jared Hain. He did something really bad.
Okay. Well, there you go. There's those rugby guys doing some bad stuff.
Yeah, this is, yeah.
the one person she throws out killed 47 people.
The one person I found, yeah, that's not, yeah.
Wait, did he really kill somebody?
Oh, no, well, that's not
what this is. I was about to say, I just threw that out there. Like, I want to
No,
get
he
that
didn't kill
wiped off
someone.
the record real quick.
He didn't kill someone, but it was something just as bad. Let's just leave it at that.
Jesus, that would have been awful. All right.
But yeah,
All right. So I'm gonna give you your picks where you're gonna get the most success this week. And we're gonna put that money.
Evil Empire, laughing all the way to the bank.
Put that money in the bank, baby.
yes, sir.
All right.
This is where we hold them.
Fallen Thor.
This is where we fight. This is where they die.
This is the
And they feel fight.
Thank you, Fallen. Appreciate it. I have a childhood buddy that plays for the NFL. I'm not sure what team he's on now, but he started on the 49ers. That is dope as hell. One of my best friends growing up, his name is Jake Ballard. Y'all can look him up. He went to a different school from me. Not till I get on a different tangent. But we played AAU basketball. How's my beach? I'm doing great. Fallen, how are you doing? We played like AAU basketball together. We played at different high schools and stuff, but we did like traveling sports together. He went to Ohio State. I went to Morehead State. His twin brother Josh came and played with me at Morehead State. Jake had like the dumbest career you could have in freaking sports. Michael Wilhoit. Actually, that name sounds familiar. His like he had the dumbest career ever. He was on the winningest teams in Ohio State history.
Mm-hmm.
He won 4 Big Ten championships during his time there, played in 2 national championships during his time there. He went on and got signed by the Giants, and he went and won a Super Bowl with the Giants, beat the Patriots, and everything. Like, God just had like an outstanding career. It was just kind of amazing that, like, seeing this guy that I grew up with, competed with, played with, and was like right there with. But the only difference was I was 6'3", like 200 pounds. He was 6'7", 260 coming out of high school. And he was athletic. Like, he was a freaking specimen. I'll look him up. I'm downloading Photoshop at Selfless Gaming, about to try more art stuff. Hell yeah, Ray. That's dope, bro. Anyways, my stardom, sit-em, money in the bank picks, okay? For quarterbacks this week.
Mm-hmm.
I am 100% playing Josh Allen against the Jets. He's going to bounce back and have an awesome week. One quarterback I would definitely put as a game time decision is Kyler Murray because of his ankle. I definitely like kind of see where that's at there. If you're really wanting to get a quarterback that's probably going to get you a crap ton of points, is Lamar Jackson for fantasy sake. The dude has been racking up points left and right. Their pass game has been getting better and better. Their running game is ridiculously good. Running backs to definitely start this week. I love Aaron Jones against Seattle. Seattle's defense is not very good. I also like Darrell Henderson, the Rams going against the 49ers. And I do kind of like Tony Pollard or Ezekiel Elliott if you have those options. Because Dallas is going against the Falcons. One team or one running back that I would definitely avoid this week is Christian McCaffrey. I don't think he's going to be very productive against Arizona's defense. I also don't like Devontae Swift. Not Devontae Swift. Yeah. Is it? No, DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift from the Lions. That's who it is. I don't think he's going to have any productivity against the Steelers.
Yeah.
And then wide receivers I like this week. I like Corey Sutton, I believe it is, for Denver. I think he's going to have a very productive week. I also like Pittman for the Indianapolis Colts. I think he's going to do very well this week. And one that I would definitely avoid this week because a lot of people are going to play him, but I'm telling you right now, it's going to be...
It's a trap.
Deebo Samuel. I would not play Deebo Samuel against Los Angeles Rams.
No.
I think he's going to be double covered and locked down, especially by Ramsey. Those are my like kind of picks and like where we're at with everything. So I don't I don't know. Those are my guys that I like, that I don't like. Oh, and I appreciate that. You know, I tried to get like a nice little glow, like my boy, little Jacob here. He went out on a cruise. Dude looks amazing. I appreciate that though, Colin. Michelle, what is up? How are you? But yeah, those are my like stardom and situms for teams that I would play. But do you have any like surprise games of the week? Like anything that you think could actually be a big surprise or anything that
I was
stands
just
out
about
to
to ask you if you could, and remember, Chad, this we're by no means betting professionals or telling you where to put your life savings on, but if you could bet on this Kansas City Vegas game, a Las Vegas Raiders game,
you?
who would you put that on? Because they're both darn near similar records, same division. This is a crucial game for them. Um, I mean, honestly, if Kansas City can will out a win, I mean, they'll be tied with the records will be tied with the Raiders instead of letting the Raiders take first place. This is going to be a big game, probably Mahomes' biggest game this year so far, because this is going to be either that they're behind in the division or they're tied for first place. So I think that's going to be a pretty exciting game.
Well, first, I'm going to take a minute to give a big shout out to the coolest kid east of the Mississippi, and that is Elijah. What's up, buddy? How you doing, Elijah? Hope you're well. Is D's Nuts son. Great kid. Awesome kid. He carried me in Apex. I won't lie about it. Mike broke his back. Probably never grow again, but it's fine. Carried me. Bro, that's actually a really good question because I don't know. I mean, I have Mahomes on my fantasy football team, and I actually picked up Matt Ryan today because Mahomes has cost me my last 2 weeks. I literally lost last week by it was 0.24 points is what I lost by, and Mahomes played terrible. He just did awful, and it's kind of like all players go through those ups and downs, but like his is starting to be a consistency, and I don't like that. And I'm actually kind of worried for the fact of is he actually gonna get out of this funk, or is this gonna be like what the new standard is? Because I like from here on out, I gotta just to make the playoffs, I gotta win out.
Yeah,
So
I mean, this has definitely been like a downward slope for him. Like
yes,
the worst, and it's not that he's playing like horrible, but he's just not playing like
he's not
good
playing
enough.
to his potential.
Yeah, he's just not playing good enough when it comes to his potential. What we've seen him do on a regular basis, week to week, it's just it's very subpar for him. I mean, it says here Mahomes has had 2 passing touchdowns in his last 3 games, his fewest in any 3-game span in his career.
Yeah.
So it's characteristic for him.
I don't know, man. To answer your question, I'd honestly go with the Raiders. I think they have a lot more to play for.
Yeah.
Chiefs defenses isn't that good. I really think in general that the Raiders have an opportunity to kind of make a run in the division and kind of get hold of the division. So I think they're actually going to take care of that. Is it at Las Vegas or at Kansas City?
Let's see. It's in Vegas. Yep.
I get Raiders.
Man, I mean, the Raiders they really do need to win more. I mean, with everything that they're going through, like
yeah, I feel like that this is like a season where we're gonna make something of this season with everything that's happened.
Yeah. I mean, I give them credit though for all the bad things that have been happening, and even the more recent things, the tragic things. It's just like, man, they've really still they're still holding it together. So if they can get a win and lead the division, that'll be big for them considering all the circumstances of everything that's been happening. I mean, they've lost like 2 players, lost their head coach. It's been crazy.
Paul, and I appreciate you stopping in. Thank you for the raid. Much love to you. Hope you and the family are doing well. Oakland Raiders. Whoop. Hey, these nuts is on these Raiders. Where she stands. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week. I don't really see too much else. We will be back every Wednesday. We'll either be like starting earlier in the day around like 4, or if we can't get to it, we'll always be 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. For all the newcomers in here from the like raids and stuff, I am Selfless Gaming. You can find me on Twitch, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. And then this is my boy, little Jacob. Go ahead and give out your socials.
Yep, you can also follow me on TikTok, Twitter, and also YouTube. It's a new platform I'm trying to build up there. It's little Jacob. Instead of an E, it's a 3 at the end. So feel free to follow me, check me out, and we will definitely get this ball rolling. There's a lot more football to be played, college and professional wise. A lot more sports to go over.
NCAA basketball started up now. That's like kicked off
basketball
yesterday.
Starting to get rolling. It's getting interesting. So we'll see what happens.